Hi, Dr. Yearling here, and welcome to a guided concept map on how pathogens cause disease. I hope you are in a quiet place, free from distractions, and you are able to give your full attention for 5 to 10 minutes so that you can make the most of the time you're spending studying. Pull out your favorite way to build the concept map with me. Make sure you're writing it down right along with me, whatever that method is, so that you're firing the most neurons you can. Okay, so our goal for this unit is to learn about human-microbe relationships, and in this topic we're learning how pathogens cause disease. I divided this into 4 branches. Remember, we're always trying to chunk information, and that helps our brains to take in that information and encode it. So let's start with the first 2 branches here that have the word pathogen. In a previous unit we defined the term pathogen. Now we're adding on more layers and details by distinguishing among 2 major types of pathogens. What are those types? Okay, are you ready? We have primary pathogens and opportunistic pathogens. All right, an example of a primary pathogen is Escherichia coli 0157H7, and that should be familiar to you. It was the one that we were introduced to in the first learning activity when we learned about differences amongst strains of bacteria. So this is a strain of E. coli that is a primary pathogen, meaning that it can cause disease even in healthy individuals. Whereas an opportunistic pathogen needs an opportunity to cause disease. An example of that would be a yeast infection. Those opportunities often come by disturbances in the immune system that allow the opportunity for an infection. Okay, those are the first 2 branches. Now I have the second 2 branches of our learning. So can you decide amongst these terms what you think might best represent a major concept for how pathogens cause disease? Okay, there may be a couple of different answers that you gave. I would say that pathogenesis is definitely a key topic that we learned about, because that is the ability of a microorganism to cause disease. We learned a couple of features about pathogenesis. First was the basic stages a microbe goes through in order to cause disease. So what are the stages of pathogenesis? Use the terms here, put them in order. Okay, pause if you aren't ready. Let's check your understanding if you are. So the first stage of pathogenesis is exposure. And this makes sense, right? You need to be exposed to the pathogen in order for it to infect. All right, what's the second stage? Adhesion. So that microbe works to adhere to the body in a way that allows it to reproduce, which is an important part of infection. The next thing it does is it adheres at that site, and then it needs to invade into the deeper tissue. Finally, the last stage is infection. So pathogenesis is the ability of a microbe to infect, and the stages that most microbes go through are: first you're exposed, then the microbe adheres to the site that it was exposed, then it invades deeper into the body, and if it's reproducing and multiplying, cause an infection. And then our learning activity pulled out a few key terms related to infection: local, focal, and systemic. Those are all examples of infection and terms that were introduced. Okay, so now we're down to the last branch here. I'm going to give you a hint on which term should go there. Which term represents the likelihood that a pathogen will cause disease? Okay, if you said virulence, that's correct. How is virulence distinct from pathogenesis? Well, pathogenesis means that a pathogen can infect. But they don't all do that equally. Virulence says the degree or the likelihood that a pathogen can cause disease. All right, a few key terms still to fill in. we learned about the lethal dose. Oh, and this should say infectious dose. Both of those are ways to do what? Okay, let's check your understanding. Both of those are ways to quantify the virulence and how likely a pathogen is to cause disease. And then there is a range of virulence. We can have avirulent all the way to highly virulent pathogens. So highly virulent pathogens are highly likely to cause disease. Avirulent have a low likelihood to cause disease. Thanks for watching. I hope you take a break and come back to this later based on how well you understood the topics. You may want to space it closer. If this is all new to you, you may want to take a longer break if it is something you've already seen and you're very confident in building these concept maps. Bye.